At the 2024 Commonwealth Summit, the UK made headlines once again, but this time for all the wrong reasons. No apology for its role in the transatlantic slave trade. This decision has sent shockwaves through the Commonwealth, sparking debates about historical justice, reparations, and the very future of this global institution. Today, we dive deep into the UK's refusal to apologise for slavery, the geopolitical impacts, and how this might shape global alliances in the years to come. Stick around for a rollercoaster ride through history, diplomacy, and the power struggles that define our world today. And while you're here, hit that subscribe button. Let's uncover the untold story behind this historic moment. Welcome to Mwaki Insights, where we bring geopolitics to life. All right, people, let's talk about the elephant in the room, or should I say, the ghost on the plantation. Britain, the land of tea and crumpets, also has a dark past. We're talking about their leading role in the transatlantic slave trade. This wasn't just a quick dip in the unethical pool. This was a full-on cannonball into centuries of human misery. From the 16th to the 19th centuries, the British Empire was the biggest slave trader in the world. They shipped millions of Africans across the Atlantic in horrific conditions, treating them like cargo instead of human beings. This wasn't just about forced labor. It was about systematic dehumanization and brutality that still echoes through generations. Think about the sheer scale of it. The ships, the auctions, the plantations, all fueled by the suffering of enslaved people. This wasn't just a side hustle for Britain, it was the engine of their economy. They got rich off sugar, tobacco, cotton, all made possible by the blood and sweat of slaves. And they did it for centuries, building an empire on the backs of the oppressed. Today, the descendants of enslaved people are demanding justice. They see the wealth Britain amassed through their ancestors' suffering and say, "We deserve a share of that." And honestly, who can blame them? Imagine discovering your family fortune was built on a casino where your great-great-grandparents were the roulette wheel. You'd want answers, right? Caribbean nations aren't just asking for a handout. They seek acknowledgement of the horrors inflicted upon their ancestors. They want a genuine apology, not a watered-down version of mistakes were made. They want Britain to own up to its past and its lasting consequences. But it goes beyond words. They're also calling for reparations. Financial compensation for the generations of economic disadvantage caused by slavery. This involves stolen labor, lost opportunities, and the systematic denial of basic human rights. It's a complex issue with no easy answers, but one thing's for sure, ignoring it isn't an option. You'd think that acknowledging a horrific wrong and its lasting impact wouldn't be a big deal, right? Admitting a mistake is often the first step towards making amends and fostering a sense of justice and healing. Welcome to the world of international politics, where saying sorry is as difficult as solving climate change. Every word is weighed, every gesture scrutinized, and the stakes are incredibly high. Britain so far is sticking to its guns, refusing to issue a formal apology for its role in slavery. This stance has been a point of contention not just domestically, but also on the global stage, where calls for accountability grow louder each year. They've expressed deep sorrow and regret, which, let's be honest, is the political equivalent of sending your ex a thinking of you text at 2 a.m. It's a gesture that acknowledges the past, but falls short of taking full responsibility. It's not meaningless, but it's not exactly a grand gesture of accountability either. It's a way to show some level of empathy without opening the floodgates to potential consequences. So, why the hesitation? Why is it so hard for Britain to say those simple words, "We are sorry"? Some argue that apologizing opens them up to a world of legal and financial liability. The fear is that a formal apology could lead to a cascade of lawsuits and demands for reparations, which could be financially crippling. Imagine a world where every country had to pay reparations for past wrongdoings. It would be chaos. The legal and financial implications are staggering, and no nation wants to set a precedent that could come back to haunt them. Plus, there's the issue of national pride. Admitting fault is tough, especially when you're used to being the empire upon which the sun never sets. It's a blow to the national identity and the narrative of historical greatness. The British Empire's legacy is a complex one, filled with both achievements and atrocities, and acknowledging the darker aspects can be a bitter pill to swallow. But sweeping history under the rug doesn't make it disappear, it festers. Ignoring the past doesn't erase it, It only allows the wounds to deepen and the resentment to grow. It creates resentment and distrust, and it prevents any real progress towards healing and reconciliation. The longer the silence, the more the anger and hurt build up, creating a barrier to any meaningful dialogue or understanding. Sometimes, a simple sorry can go a long way. It can be the first step towards mending broken relationships and building a foundation for a more just and equitable future. It's not about dwelling on the past. It's about acknowledging it so you can move forward together. Recognizing historical wrongs is crucial for collective healing and for ensuring that such injustices are never repeated. In the end, the goal is to create a world where history is not a source of division, but a lesson that brings us closer. A world where we can look back, learn, and grow together, united in our commitment to justice and equality. So, while the road to an apology may be fraught with challenges, it's a journey worth taking. Because in the act of saying sorry, we find the potential for a brighter, more inclusive future. Cracks in the Commonwealth, the apology that could fracture an empire's legacy. The UK's refusal to apologise isn't just a domestic issue, it's sending shockwaves through the Commonwealth. This decision reverberates across continents, affecting diplomatic relations and stirring public opinion in countries that were once under British rule. The Commonwealth, a voluntary association of 54 independent and sovereign states, many of which were former British colonies, is built on the idea of shared history and values. These values are supposed to include mutual respect, equality, and a commitment to human rights. But when that history is stained with the blood of slavery and the shared values seem to conveniently overlook it, things get a little awkward. The legacy of colonialism is a heavy burden, and the refusal to acknowledge it only makes it heavier. Imagine being in a club where the president built his fortune by exploiting your ancestors, and he refuses to even apologize for it. This isn't just a hypothetical scenario, it's the reality for many nations within the Commonwealth. You'd probably be questioning your membership, right? You'd wonder if this club truly represents your interests, or if it's just a relic of a bygone era. That's the situation many Caribbean nations are facing. These countries, rich in culture and history, are grappling with the question of whether their continued association with the Commonwealth is beneficial or merely symbolic. They're asking, is this a partnership of equals, or are we still living in the shadow of empire? The question isn't just rhetorical. It has real implications for international relations and national identities. This isn't just about hurt feelings, it's about power dynamics. The refusal to apologize is seen as a refusal to relinquish a position of superiority, a stance that perpetuates inequality. The UK's refusal to acknowledge its past wrongs undermines its moral authority within the Commonwealth. It sends a message that the grievances of former colonies are not valid, that their histories are not worth recognizing. It creates a sense of resentment and distrust that could lead to calls for greater autonomy and even potential exits from the association. The bonds that hold the Commonwealth together are fraying, and the refusal to apologize is pulling at those threads. The irony is that in trying to cling to a sanitized version of history, the UK risks fracturing the very structure it seeks to preserve. By not addressing the past, it jeopardizes the future of the Commonwealth, an institution that could be a force for good if built on genuine mutual respect and understanding. BRICS over Brexit. Is this the start of a new world order? The question on everyone's mind as the global landscape shifts dramatically. While the UK navigates this diplomatic minefield, other global players are watching with great interest. The world is no longer a stage dominated by a few Western powers. Enter the BRICS nations: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. These countries are not just emerging economies, they are formidable forces reshaping global politics. These emerging economies present themselves as an alternative to the traditional Western-dominated world order. They advocate for multipolarity, South-South cooperation, and a more equitable global system. This isn't just rhetoric, it's a vision for a new world order. The BRICS nations are pushing for a world where power is more evenly distributed, where every nation has a voice. The UK's refusal to address its colonial past plays right into their hands. This historical baggage is more than just a sore point, it's a strategic advantage for the BRICS. It feeds into the narrative of Western hypocrisy, highlighting the double standards and lingering power imbalances that continue to shape the world today. The BRICS nations are capitalizing on this, positioning themselves as champions of a fairer world. This isn't just about economics, it's about justice, equity, and a new global ethos. It's like a recruitment drive for the BRICS, with the UK unwittingly holding the Join Us banner. The irony is palpable. This diplomatic blunder could have far-reaching consequences. This doesn't mean Caribbean nations are about to ditch their historical ties and jump ship to the BRICS bloc. However, the shifting dynamics are impossible to ignore. They are exploring their options, weighing their alliances, and considering who truly has their best interests at heart. They're looking for partners who respect their history, understand their concerns, and are willing to engage in a more equitable relationship. This is about more than just economic benefits. It's about mutual respect and understanding. The world is changing, and alliances are being redefined. The old rules no longer apply. The old colonial powers might find themselves left behind if they don't adapt to the new realities. The future belongs to those who can navigate these changes and build new partnerships based on equality and mutual respect. The question is, will the old powers adapt, or will they be left behind in this new world order? That's it for today, folks. If you found this deep dive informative, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe to Mwaki Insights for more videos on global politics, history, and everything in between. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think the UK should apologize? We'd love to hear your views. And don't forget to share this video with anyone interested in the future of global diplomacy.